Rose Forever is a company based in New York, specializing in long-lasting rose arrangements that are made 100% of natural, fresh flowers. Rose Forever only uses natural oils to preserve the roses, and the bouquets are handcrafted by professional rose artisans. Rose Forever roses experts at spotting potential targets. And it was around 8:30 p.m. that the boys had noticed Junko on her bicycle. So at the time, she was on her way home from work, and Minato kicked her off of her bike, creating a diversion, at which point Miyano had stepped in, pretending to be an innocent bystander. After offering to help her up. After helping her up, he'd asked if she wanted an escort home, to which she accepted, because someone just randomly knocked her off of her bike, which is fair. However, unfortunately, she had never seen her loved ones again. So, Miyano had led her to an abandoned warehouse where he told her of his Yakuza connections and proceeded to rape her. He had threatened to kill her and her family if she'd made a sound, evidence against them and the horrifying, disgusting tortures that Junko had to endure, they received shockingly light sentences. Hiroshi Miyano was sentenced to 20 years. Shinshin Minato received a term of 5 to 9 years. That's nothing. Joe Ogura was sentenced to 5 to 10. And Yasushi Watanabe received a term of 5 to 7 years. Since they were teenagers at the time of her murder, their youth was what was linked to the light sentencing, though it is widely believed that it is actually due to their connections to the Yakuza that mainly had something to do with it. Had the case been heard elsewhere, or had the boys been a few years older, they would have been likely dealt capital punishments. Instead, all 4 of her killers were eventually released from prison, and it's believed that Watanabe is the only one who has not reoffended since his release. To this day, in Japan, it is felt that justice had not been served in this case. Yeah, and tragically, it does not seem like that will ever happen. I completely agree. That's disgusting. To have to go through something like that so intensely. That poor girl really was horrifically tortured. Even reading that made me extremely uncomfortable. Like, it made me cringe because my imagination is very vivid and I can just picture that so well, and it is absolutely disgusting. Ugh. I feel so bad for Junko and her family. Like, I mean, that must have been very confusing because they were looking for her, but in contacts with her, under the assumption that she ran away for some reason. And that's probably even more devastating as a parent to later find out that your poor little girl was actually just being forced to, like, get this sent off, I guess, on looking for her any further. That is so sad. Wow. But that was the tragic tale of Junko Furuta. I had never heard that one before, and oh my gosh, it was a really sad one to hear about. But what do you guys think? Had you heard of this story before? I've never heard of that or the Yakuza or any of that. Very unaware of all of those things. Let me know in a comment if I missed anything, or if there's another similar story to this that you'd like me to cover and, bring attention to, because that is so tragic. So tragic. A little sip. me at Instagram.